This seemingly easygoing guy unexpectedly found himself embroiled in a storm of a broken engagement. Every blind date he attended felt destined to go awry, often leading to a series of misunderstandings. Strangely enough, the source of all this chaos was Liu Ruyan who, after breaking off her engagement with me, had a sudden pang of conscience and decided to have her boyfriend, Yanjie, introduce me to potential matches. However, the conclusion to this farce left not only me feeling awkward but also dragged the usually composed Liu Ruyan into the mess, culminating in a heated argument between her and Yanjie. Yanjie accused me of harboring feelings for Liu Ruyan, insisting that I never truly let her go. Liu Ruyan tried to defend me, but in Yanjie's eyes, it was nothing more than a hypocritical pretense. He seized every opportunity to make me realize how lowly I was. Amidst this chaos, I uncovered a hidden secret: the so-called broken engagement was far more complicated than I had imagined. One day, I overheard Liu Ruyan and Yanjie arguing downstairs. To be precise, it was more of Yanjie venting his frustrations, self-control issues. What does that even mean? This isn't okay, that's not okay. My friend sincerely invited him out, and he refused over and over. No respect at all. His voice was loud enough for me to hear clearly even though my window upstairs was shut. Liu Ruyan repeatedly reminded him to lower his voice, but he ignored her, almost as if he wanted me to hear. He's still hung up on you. Saying the engagement is off, but secretly hoping you'll come back to him. Liu Ruyan's resigned voice followed. He doesn't feel anything for her. We can't force it. No feelings. Yanjie's voice grew sharper, tinged with indignation. I think he just looks down on people like us from humble backgrounds. What's wrong with my friend? She's smart, hardworking, got a full scholarship to Imperial Capital University, and isn't bad looking. But Si Kongzhen keeps pushing her away. Doesn't that mean he's snubbing her for her family background? In my mind, I pictured the woman Yanjie had described, thick silver-framed glasses, a dull expression, but extraordinarily efficient when packing up leftovers at buffets. Yanjie's tone became increasingly impassioned. He acts polite on the surface, but deep down, he looks down on us. Even when it came to breaking the engagement, he was so nonchalant about it. Isn't it because he's waiting for you to come crawling back after experiencing a bland life? Liu Ruyan's voice softened into a reprimand. Stop talking nonsense. Zheng isn't like that. And I've always been clear-headed. Yanjie mimicked her tone mockingly. Zheng, the way you're defending him, do you still have feelings for him? If that's the case, I won't interfere anymore. Go ahead and stick to your original engagement. Best wishes for a lifetime of happiness. He pretended to leave, and Liu Ruyan hurriedly grabbed him, pulling him into a hug. What kind of man could tolerate his girlfriend having a previous engagement? If I didn't truly love you, would I have started such a complicated relationship? But how could you let me down like this? Liu Ruyan soothed him with heartache in her voice. Nothing like that. My engagement to him was just a joke made by the adults when we were kids. It doesn't mean anything. Besides, I've always only seen him as a younger brother. The only one who has moved me is you. Only then did Yanjie stop crying, his expression triumphant as his gaze drifted intentionally toward my window. That's when I finally realized the last sentence had been meant for me to hear all along. As Liu Ruyan and Yanjie left, teasing and bickering with each other, I sank into thought. When we were kids, my engagement with Liu Ruyan did resemble something out of a storybook. Our families were close friends, each with a child, and the adults jokingly decided to arrange a marriage. Liu Ruyan had innocently asked, if we get married, can I still play with Zheng every day? The adults clapped their hands and laughed. If you get married, you can be together every day and play as much as you want. Liu Ruyan had immediately declared with excitement, then I'll marry Zheng. I want to play with him every day. But even as a little boy, I was more mature than Liu Ruyan and understood that marriage and friendship were different. You could have many friends, but a marriage partner could only be one. After much contemplation, I nodded, and Liu Ruyan cheered with delight. But as clever as I was in distinguishing the two, I was oblivious to the fact that Liu Ruyan couldn't tell them apart. And so, the engagement was settled, and we grew up inseparably, until she met Yanjie and finally understood the difference between wanting to play together every day and wanting to get married. She proposed breaking off the engagement and asked me to explain things to Yanjie. I agreed on the surface but was both shocked and hurt inside. I knew that the engagement might have been a joke to Liu Ruyan, but it was genuine to me. Still, I also understood that confessing my feelings wouldn't change her decision. So, I pretended to be casual, teasing her, what chickening out on me, come on, let's get married already. Don't delay your happiness. In the end, when Liu Ruyan knocked on my door to talk, I looked toward the slightly ajar door at the end of the hallway. It was clear someone was eavesdropping. Since that was the case, I might as well give them something to hear. I walked out of the room calmly, leaning against the railing in the hallway, breathing in the cool night air. The room felt unusually stifling. Go ahead, Liu Ruyan, I said quietly. Are you here to apologize on Yanjie's behalf? I know you heard everything we said downstairs just now. She froze for a moment, then lowered her gaze with a hint of guilt. Don't take it to heart. Yanjie has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. He didn't mean any harm. He even pushed me to come apologize to you. I didn't agree with her. Besides, if Yanjie sincerely wanted to apologize, why didn't he come himself? Did he not have a mouth? I wanted to retort sarcastically, but I swallowed the words. Arguments only drained energy, making the situation more awkward and unbearable, leaving me even more exhausted. Yet, I didn't feel like uttering insincere words like, it's fine, I don't mind, either. After a moment of silence, I spoke softly, I can understand his outburst. After all, his girlfriend has a childhood fiancé, though the engagement has been broken off and this childhood friend still lives with her every day. Any normal person would let their imagination run wild. Liu Ruyan looked up at me, hesitant to speak. I sighed and continued, Liu Ruyan, I've told you before, now that you're in a relationship, it's no longer appropriate for us to live under the same roof. If you and Yanjie don't want to move out, then I'll move out. The house we were in had been purchased jointly by our parents when we started university, so we wouldn't have to live in the school dorms and could enjoy more comfort. Later, when Yanjie learned that Liu Ruyan owned half of the house, he naturally moved in. We're about to graduate, I said. Let's sell the house then. If you feel bad about it, I've lived here less than you, so you can give me a larger share of the proceeds. Or, if you have the means now, buy out my half at market value, and you can decide whether to sell it later. I spoke seriously, without a hint of joking. Liu Ruyan, however, put on a look of desperation, as if pleading, oh, my dear little master. Can we drop the idea of you moving out? If my parents find out I let you live alone, they'll surely break my legs again. She paused, her tone softening with a trace of earnestness. Besides, what's so inappropriate about living together? You're my little brother. What kind of sister would let her brother live alone? I closed my eyes, trying to suppress the emotions welling up inside. My memory involuntarily pulled me back to my sophomore year. My parents had died in a sudden plane crash during an overseas vacation. No survivors. Liu Ruyan's parents took me into their home, with her mother gently reassuring me, our families have always been one, we're your family. Just settle in without worry. Later, Liu Ruyan fell in love with Yanjie. To teach him a lesson on my behalf, her parents beat him severely, even breaking one of his legs. He spent half a year recovering, yet Liu Ruyan never wavered in her resolve to be with him. In the end, her parents relented, and I, unwilling to hold on, voluntarily proposed canceling the engagement. They then took me in as their adopted son, and Liu Ruyan never again referred to me as her fiancé. Instead, she called me her little brother. Liu Ruyan kept talking, trying to persuade me not to move out, but I didn't respond. She subconsciously raised her hand, as if to ruffle my hair like she did when we were kids. I tilted my head slightly and cleared my throat, prompting her to pull her hand back abruptly, as if waking from a dream. The atmosphere grew awkward. At that moment, Yanjie's voice rang out from the other end of the hallway, tinged with mockery, oh, what a performance. Always talking about moving out, but in the end, you never leave. Playing hard to get and trying to get more money, what a schemer. Liu Ruyan's face flushed red. She stormed back into her room, yelling, what nonsense are you spouting now? I'm just watching a short drama, Yanjie feigned innocence. The cunning second male lead said something pretty interesting. By the way, are you done talking with Zhang? Liu Ruyan said no more. Watching this farce unfold, I felt an inexplicable weariness and turned back to my room, collapsing onto the bed. Shortly after, my phone buzzed with a message from Liu Ruyan. I forgot to mention the important thing earlier. Don't bother with Yanjie's childhood friend if you don't like her. It's okay. Feelings can't be forced. I'll help you find someone more suitable. Don't worry, I'll make sure you're completely satisfied. I stared at the message, once again lost in thought. After getting together with Liu Ruyan, Yanjie kept saying things like, to thank you, I'll help you find a partner so we can happily go on double dates in the future. I understood his true intentions. He was insecure. He wanted to completely sever any potential ties between Liu Ruyan and me. Liu Ruyan understood his intentions, too. To put Yanjie at ease, she naturally played along and became eager to introduce me to potential partners. Her enthusiasm might have even been tinged with a bit of guilt. But that guilt wasn't because she broke off our engagement, it was because the person she broke the engagement with was an orphan with no parents. If my parents were still alive, she might feel that the beating Yanjie received back then was enough to balance everything out, allowing him to pursue true love with a clear conscience. Unfortunately, my parents were gone. To now speak of true love above all would morally seem like an excessive blow. Only if I had clearly moved on and found happiness of my own could it prove that he wasn't a heartless person. At first, I didn't want to play along. Honestly, the whole situation was absurd. I had already gone above and beyond by stepping aside for their relationship. Now, I was expected to hastily find someone to entrust my life to, just to solidify their bond. It made me feel like I was some kind of emotional catalyst or stabilizer, a ridiculous notion. Eventually, though, I acquiesced not because I had lost my mind, but because Liu Ruyan's parents were too shrewd. Despite my indifferent demeanor toward the broken engagement, her parents had keenly sensed my true feelings and felt deeply guilty about it. I never thought they owed me anything. Both in the past and now, they treated me incredibly well. After my parents' passing, during the darkest period of my life, their comfort and companionship helped me survive. If anything, I felt indebted to them. The broken engagement with Liu Ruyan did sadden me, but it was her decision as an individual, unrelated to her parents. Unfortunately, their traditional moral views led them to believe that parents are to blame for a child's faults. They thought they were responsible for their daughter's actions and had since made subtle and overt attempts to compensate me. But this so-called compensation didn't bring me peace. On the contrary, it made me increasingly uncomfortable and uneasy. I tried explaining to them that it really didn't matter, but they stubbornly refused to believe me, even doubling down on their guilt because of my maturity. After much thought, I decided to take tangible action to ease their worries, showing I was open to meeting others and not stuck in the past. After all, I never intended to remain single forever. However, I would only let things happen naturally. I wasn't going to jump into a relationship just to put others at ease. Instead, I treated it as expanding my social circle. If it didn't work out, I wouldn't pursue it. If I met someone I clicked with, I'd chat more. Unfortunately, none of the people Liu Ruyan and Yanjie went out of their way to introduce me to caught my interest. Yanjie once jokingly commented on my high standards. But whether it was my high standards or their careless matchmaking was up for debate. I closed my phone without replying to Liu Ruyan's message. I thought the matter with Yanjie's childhood friend was over, but he remained persistent. One day, while I was visiting an art exhibition, he dragged Liu Ruyan and his childhood friend along for a coincidental meeting with me. Left with no choice, I went along with them. Throughout the exhibit, Yanjie and Liu Ruyan kept sneaking off, leaving me alone with his childhood friend. I focused on the art while she tried to make small talk. I responded in the same way I would with a stranger, neutral and polite but distant. At lunch, Yanjie prattled on, subtly praising his childhood friend. "Zhang, you're Ruyan's little brother and my little brother, too. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't have introduced you to them." He spoke passionately, and I finally remembered his childhood friend's name was Liu. But that detail didn't matter. What struck me was this: Yanjie was a truly peculiar person. Despite harboring significant grievances against me, talking behind my back and even making sure I overheard, he seemed perfectly at peace with himself, as long as he didn't criticize me directly to my face. It was as if avoiding open confrontation absolved him of all malice. I responded with vague, non-committal hums, treating his words as mere background noise for the meal. "You're so rude, ignoring people when they're talking to you." He suddenly blurted out. "Enough, stop it." Liu Ruyan nudged him with her elbow, looking thoroughly embarrassed. Liu Ruyan and I had been brought up with remarkably similar family values. We were taught, never casually judge others because you don't truly understand their experiences or feelings. Never create unnecessary conflict, prioritize the bigger picture. Be a good listener, but don't argue frivolously. These principles, for better or worse, had shaped my behavior. Liu Ruyan, too, adhered to them. In the adult world, few people flip the table outright. A lack of direct response often signals disinterest while preserving civility. On the contrary, continuing to push and talk endlessly reveals a true lack of tact. I wasn't sure if these ideals were right or wrong, but I followed them instinctively. So did Liu Ruyan. So at this moment, she knew I was forcing myself to endure it. And she thinks her boyfriend is rude. Yanjie becomes active again. It's because of a stranger's request to share a table. "Excuse me. There are a lot of people in charge today. Can I share a table with you?" No one reacted. Yanjie screamed excitedly first. "Sister Shen, of course you can. Someone coming. Wearing a well-tailored smoky gray suit. Slender and tall. Outstanding appearance and temperament. Just look left and right. They all look like they have been out and about in society for several years." But Yanjie quickly introduced him. It turned out to be the Department of Finance at Taido University. An outstanding graduate from previous years. Distinguished alumni today. Upstart entrepreneur. Name is Shen Yushu. It turns out they are junior students and junior students. Shen Yushu is not restrained. Greet us generously. "No, no, he and I are your alumni." "They are not." Yanjie pointed at herself and the shower gel. Then he pointed at me and Liu Ruyan. A clear-cut look. "But we are all friends." I chewed on the word friend that Yanjie said. Glancing at Liu Ruyan. "It feels interesting. Senior Shen, please sit here with me. I have a place here." Yanjie kept pushing Liu Ruyan aside. Shen Yushu waved his hand. "No need to bother. I can just sit here." He pointed to the empty seat next to me. "Ask politely." "Is that okay?" I nodded. "Don't mind." Yanjie seemed a little unhappy. But I didn't show it too much. She began to look for common topics around Shen Yushu. They are alumni. Off the shelf. Naturally, it's their top university. Strange things in. I don't understand. Not too curious. After dinner, there is nothing to do. Simply take out the tablet. Start polishing. An unfinished work. Gradually become more involved. Being pulled back to reality. Or is it because of Yanjie's voice I almost called my senior twice? I just noticed. I don't know when their conversation stopped. And Shen Yushu was looking at me intently. Seeing that I stopped painting. Shen Yushu apologized repeatedly. "Did it bother you?" "Sorry. Don't know why. Watching you paint feels so healing." So I kept staring without paying attention. I didn't expect him to like this painting. I simply handed him the tablet to look at the details. "Thank you for the compliment. Do you like surreal style?" Shen Yushu admired it carefully for a while. Opened his mouth again. Maybe a little presumptuous. But can I buy him this? Makes me a little surprised. This is an exercise I do casually. Quite rough. If you like. I'll give it to you after I finish the painting. Thank you very much. He is not shy. Took out mobile phone. Then let us add contact information first. I almost fell out of the QR code. But Yanjie suddenly interrupted and stopped her. "Senior sister, your boy's WeChat. Why didn't he ask his girlfriend for her opinion?" "Be careful to create barriers for other young lovers. You add mine. Come back, Zhang, send me. I'll send it to you." Shen Yushu's expression did not change. Raised his hand to scan the code. Are the disciplines for those born after 2000 already so strict now? Once you fall in love, you have to be completely insulated from other members of the opposite sex. There is not only sexual relationship between opposite sexes. Oh, if you really love each other, you shouldn't even trust this. You can't give it to your lover either. Fu Yanjie was fanning. Can't answer the call for a moment. Shen Yushu looked at Liu Ruyan and shower gel. I don't know who is so lucky. I held my chin and looked at Fu Yanjie. I'm also curious. Where is my girlfriend? Cleansing face for genocides without changing color. Ha ha ha, I just said something wrong. But all that's missing is the layer of window paper. No difference. Ah Zhen, you have been having an affair with Yola for so long. How long will you be shy? Such an excellent girl. You will regret it if you miss it. Or should I say, she paused meaningfully. You met the wealthy senior sister Shen. I dislike Yola again because her family background is not good. We can't do this. Her subtext is too obvious. They're obviously a little stupid. Seemingly playful tone. But every word of it tries to accuse me of being too poor and loving the rich. Likes to hang on to others' hats and try to have both sides. For the first time, I had a true understanding of Fu Yanjie. Produce uncomfortable emotions. I thought he rejected me before. It's because I have the identity of Ruyan Lu's ex-fiancé. And he has a constant relationship with the Liu family. People with little emotional experience. It is indeed difficult to face such an existence calmly, involuntarily feeling threatened. Hostility is normal. Once I have a clear emotional destination one day, this hostility will automatically disappear. So all the time, I'm very tolerant. Fu Yanjie's various suspicions and rudeness towards me, I tend to believe. He is essentially a very good and kind boy. I just meet someone who I don't know how to deal with, but have to face interpersonal relationships. At a loss. He loses his temper frequently. After all, Liu Ruyan once described. Why do you like Fu Yanjie? She described him as warm-hearted and generous. Like a little sun that warms the heart. As soon as you get close to him, you will feel full of energy. Beating heart. Although his description made me quite sad at the time. But objectively speaking, I also have to admit that he is not blind. The person who can attract him must be very good. But just now, Fu Yanjie clearly didn't want me to follow her. Shen Yushu builds social relationships. Even in front of me. Make up some things that don't exist to label me. Logically speaking, Fu Yanjie should be happy to see the scene. A girl admires me. And I don't object to getting to know each other either. If we really have some friction because of this, he doesn't have to worry every day. I haven't let go of Liu Ruyan yet. Why are you so eager to stop it based on his behavior today? The answer is obvious. Among the three girls present, he thinks Shen Yushu is the best. Better than Liu Ruyan. He can't see that there's anything about me that's better than him. The logic behind this. There is no doubt that he feels from the bottom of his heart that I am inferior to him. I'm a bad person. Even without Liu Ruyan. If we knew each other under other circumstances. I'm afraid it's also because the magnetic field doesn't match. Ah Zhen, you should give me an accurate message. Don't let us, Yola, always worry about gains and losses. Fu Yanjie muttered again. I held my chin and looked at him. Didn't arouse any anger. Fu Yanjie, do you know what you are projecting in your heart? He didn't know what I wanted to say for a moment. Don't change the subject. I have expressed it repeatedly. I don't have any special feelings for classmate Miu. But you tell me again and again how good he is. Can't listen to my true thoughts at all. He also thought that I disliked his poor family background. So I have every reason to think. You are projecting your own mentality onto me. So you actually love your little girl very much. But you care more about whether the girl's family is wealthy. So you are not with this person. You take it seriously. I feel that the extremely excellent Gyakuro is together. Instead, he chose Liu Ruyan, who has better family conditions. And now you meet Shen Sueja, whom you admire. Then I felt that Liu Ruyan was not good. Fu Yanjie was stunned. He probably didn't expect it. Usually he is almost silent. I never refute others. To say something so sharp. He screamed at Rui's words. What are you talking nonsense? I'm really talking nonsense. All his actions. It can't be said to be some unconscious psychological projection. Just want to embarrass me. How could he love his hair so much he doesn't like me? He won't try to match any girl he thinks is good. Stay with me. He only wants me, who he considers a bad person. To match up with another person he considers a bad person. I am afraid. They just have the false reputation of growing up together. It's hard to say what the relationship is like. Does he care about Shen Yushu? There must be a good impression. But it should not be shaken. At least. Before he was sure that he could capture Shen Yushu without making any mistakes, don't dare to think so much. Liu Ruyan's face looked very bad. Fu Yanjie tried her best to explain to him. I really don't like shower gel. Didn't waver today. I continue to muddy the waters. Don't deny it so hastily first. People who project psychologically. Essentially because deep down. Unable to recognize one's true feelings. Think about it carefully. Since you think shower gel is good anywhere, you are childhood sweethearts again. Deep affection. Then why aren't you with him and your Shen Sueja? You introduced yourself to him so much today. Why didn't you introduce me as Liu Ruyan, your girlfriend? Are you subconsciously trying to create a single persona? We must be sober as human beings. You have to think clearly about who you really like in your heart. It's not good to be confused. Otherwise, you are not letting others down. You failed yourself again. This was probably the first time that Yanjie fell into the trap of self-certification. He is incoherent. I'm so trembling that I don't know which end to argue first. In a moment of urgency, he actually spit out his true impression of shower gel. Who likes shower gel? I just know how to study hard. I can't even say a few clever words. She digs it to death. Bring all the paper in the toilet. Go home and use it one by one. We're just from a small city. It's not like you're so poor that you can't afford to live anymore. Why are you so embarrassed, dead and worthless? Maybe it feels like it proves that I don't like shower gel. On hiding the fact that she has a crush on Shen Yushu. He has full confidence. I love Shen Sueja. Just out of normal admiration for outstanding seniors. It's because I don't have any bad thoughts about him. So. You didn't specifically emphasize your emotional state, right? He thought he explained it properly. Unexpectedly, shower gel stood up without saying a word. Pushed away the chair and left. Only then did Yanjie react. In public. Especially in front of the people he admires. What a mean thing to say. Make up for everything. So you don't like shower gel so much. Then you said before that you were not one of your own. You won't even introduce him to others. Do you also treat me? Liu Ruyan interrupted. I've had enough, Zheng. Yanjie seems to have regained her soul. You said you want to fall in love. I would like to introduce you to someone with good intentions. But you tried to throw dirty water on me in every possible way. You are simply still thinking about Liu Ruyan, right? Sowing discord and trying to break us up. No wonder I introduced you to so many people. You don't like anyone. You just want to steal someone else's girlfriend. He stared at Liu Ruyan. From now on. With him and without me. With me or without him. It's up to you. After saying that, he straightened up. Ran away angrily. It really broke my face. Liu Ruyan also stood up. Look at me with complicated feelings. Zheng, you shouldn't deliberately embarrass him like this. Understood. He now feels that my words and deeds are also embarrassing. What he probably expected was. I smiled as usual. It doesn't matter, just make a joke and mix it up. I miss my family's education. After all, it's a little different from Liu Ruyan's family. My parents said. Although peace is precious. But if the other party is clear. Showing malice in person. Then I should bite him back hard on the spot. Otherwise, others won't think you are tolerant and understanding. I will only think you are weak and easy to bully. Liu Ruyan also left. And I'm actually a little hungry again. Probably painting and talking at the same time. Spending a lot of energy. I raised my hand to call the waiter. Please give me another steak. There was a burst of laughter from all around. I just discovered. Shen Yushu actually didn't leave. I'm a little embarrassed. The one who innocently implicated you today. Sorry. Do you want anything else to eat? I ask if I am Shen Yushu. I feel speechless now. Just looking for someone to share a table with. Not familiar with the other person at all. Let us chat a few words. But it became a part of people's gossip. Although it was Yanjie who dragged him in first. But I didn't let him go either. Shen Yushu responded to me seriously. I'm a little too full after eating melon. Can it be replaced with something else? For example, make a friend. What kind of request is this? Aren't we already friends? I raised my phone. WeChat has been added. Shen Yushu coughed. That as a friend. Can you sign your name for me? He took out his cell phone. Open a certain video software. Are you Jay-Z, a painting blogger? I'm your fan. This vest fell off unexpectedly. I was a little stunned for a moment. The time when my parents had an accident. I fell into a closed state of mind. I can only solve it by painting like crazy. Sometimes I feel better. I will post the painting process online. There are actually some followers intermittently. Later I came out of that shadow. Didn't he give up on updating? How did you know? It's because I just saw my painting. The style feels familiar. Shen Yushu stuttered. The ears turned red. Actually not. A ridiculous conjecture came to my mind. You won't recognize me first today. You just came here to share a table on purpose, right? Shen Yushu nodded. Yes. No, how on earth did you recognize me? I haven't shown my face yet. Shen Yushu. Doesn't your upper body and back appear in your video? I have good eyesight. From this day on, Shen Yushu magically became a part of my daily life. An existence that cannot be ignored. He seems very free. It's as if there isn't a company waiting for him to take care of it. Ask me out often. I asked him and he said we work hard every day. Work hard. Isn't it just to have more freedom, enjoy life better if I don't even have the ability to rest when I want to? My hard work in the past 2 years was not in vain. Makes sense. Speechless. As someone who has had the experience of seeing each other many times, it's not that I don't understand. What is Shen Yushu's thinking behind his frequent invitations? In fact, he himself admitted that he was very neat. To be honest, I feel quite compatible with him. It's also very comfortable to get along with. There is even an inexplicable sense of familiarity. But sometimes I'm a bit over the top. I don't understand why we just met him. Can have so much enthusiasm. I understand he likes my paintings. Appreciate my painting style. But painting is painting. People are people. Shen Yushu still has something to say about this. The soul of the painter is entrusted in the painting. It seems like your paintings attract me. It's actually your soul that attracts me. Sister, please stop being so mysterious. Okay, I'm not a big creator. I'm just an ordinary little painter. Not professional, just a hobby. Shen Yushu sighed. But I really think your words are very vital. When you first opened your account 2 years ago, I will follow you. At that time, the emotions in your words were very depressing. But there will always be a touch of bright color. As if to say no matter how bad things are, we can't give up hope. At that time, I was experiencing my first failure in starting a business. Exhausted everything. I'm so disappointed every time I watch your updated videos. I always draw strength from your works. Only then did I have the courage to come back a second time. For me. We didn't just meet. You have been with me for a long time. Some distant memories gradually come back. I tentatively asked him. You're not the first one, are you? When I first opened my account, very few people follow. But there is an account named Chuzzy. I will give likes to every one of my works. Leave messages in my comment area often. While encouraging me, he also talked about his own troubles. It can be regarded as my earliest confidant. Later, it developed into a relationship of mutual concern. Occasionally chat by a private message. Shen Yushu gave me a positive answer. It's me, the beginning. I stuttered. I don't know how to explain it further. Because later I blocked him in Chuzzy. It's not my fault. The only thing to blame is that he suddenly confessed to me. I think he is a pervert. Which good guy will fall directly in love with someone you have never met before? In addition, there were some rumors on the platform at that time. Talk about certain women. I will deliberately follow some new male blogger accounts. Identify pearls by showing your own discernment. To give the other person emotional value. Then induce them to meet and do inappropriate things. I became more convinced of this. Although his confession message was carefully worded. 3 sentences an offense. 5 sentences with an excuse. Be careful throughout. He said, I know it sounds weird. But every time I see you painting, communicate with you, my heartbeat no longer belongs to me. Liu Ruyan hadn't met Yanjie at that time. I'm talking about being a pervert. Say one more thing. My fiancé will leave you without a heartbeat. Then I blocked him. I didn't take it to heart. The most indispensable thing on the internet is women who are in heat casually. It seems that more than a year has passed. It doesn't seem like he's really casual, or maybe I should have refused more politely at the time. For example, thank you for your love. But I already have a fiancé. Huan Junmingzi sheds tears. I hate not meeting each other before we are married. At this moment, I really understand how to be a human being and keep a thin line. It's easy to see each other someday. Shen Yushu chuckled lightly. It was true that I was too reckless back then. You're right to be cautious. He looked at me seriously. After I recognized you that day, there is only one thought left in my mind. Maybe this is a gift from God. The only chance for me to appear in front of you. Anyway, I have to catch them all. At that moment I thought. Maybe you are married. That's okay. Be a friend who can meet. I'm satisfied too. I was a little shocked. Sister, don't have such pure love. I haven't seen it. A little scared. Don't you be unable to swallow that breath. You set up a trap specifically to take revenge on me, right? He laughed again. Do you want to try it? If I lie to you, just hang me out. Let your 1 million fans come and blast me online. Ruin my reputation. Stock price plummets. Destitute. I smiled and said it was a good idea. Shen Yushu and I are together like this. On the day of the official announcement, Liu Ruyan is back. After I broke up with Yanjie that day alone, he returned to school that night. Liu Ruyan naturally chased him away. I heard that Yanjie had been having trouble with him for several days. He was good-tempered and coaxed. Eat, drink, have fun and buy gifts. Nothing is left behind. It should be. After all, you are someone's girlfriend. Look at Yanjie's recent friend circles. The two of them should have reconciled as before. I don't know why she came back suddenly. I'm not afraid that my good boyfriend will go crazy again. Are you too hasty? For the first time he frowned and looked at me. You've only known that person named Shen for a few days. Just together. How is it illegal? I do not understand. Logically speaking, he should be happy at this moment. I have a girlfriend. Means. Yanjie can no longer take away the old marriage between me and him. I got angry with him about it. His love will be much smoother. The guilt you feel towards me can also be reduced a lot. Zhen and Liu Ruyan softened her tone. I know. You are completely annoyed by Yanjie because of what happened that day. I suspect you from time to time. I don't want to cause more friction between me and him. That's why I got divorced so casually. But you can't be so hasty about feelings. I've had a good talk with him these past few days. He will no longer have inexplicable thoughts in the future. Not for us. I interrupted him impatiently. You think too much. I won't give up on a relationship for anyone. I have feelings for Shen Yushu. Liu Ruyan's face suddenly became extremely pale. How is it possible? You just met. I feel a little funny. Doesn't it feel like this happens in an instant? Wasn't it the first time you saw Yanjie before just fell in love with her? That's different. She didn't even think about changing it. Refute that. You and Shen Yu are not suitable for each other. He is older than us. It's been so long since I've been out of society again. He was already a brooding eagle. You can't beat him. I frowned. Liu Ruyan. Can you be more respectful to my girlfriend? Liu Ruyan's eyes widened in disbelief. Yell at me. You yell at me for other women. Shouldn't I sneered. Liu Ruyan. I am an adult with my own judgment. When you humiliate him, you humiliate me. I've never made any casual comments about your significant other, have I? What qualifications do you have? Pointing fingers at my people casually. Your man. Liu Ruyan breathed heavily. Keep repeating these 3 words. I'm too lazy to tell him anymore. He simply took out the prepared house purchase and sale power of attorney. You came just in time today. Our current situation. It's really not suitable to own a house together. It's better to sell it early. I'm ready to move out. You come forward to sell it or I come forward to sell it. The real estate deed is in both of our names. One person does not have the right to handle it alone. Unless another person issues a power of attorney. If you are afraid of trouble, just you sign. I'll deal with it. The money will be sent to you then. Liu Ruyan seemed to have completely missed the point. You want tea live now? Where are you going? He stared at the luggage I had started to pack. His voice was hoarse, as if it was forced out of his throat. You are going to live with Shen Yu? Of course not. I had planned the move 2 days in advance. But what does it have to do with you? Liu Ruyan seemed to be irritated by these words. He grabbed my hand suddenly. You just got together. You have to live with him. Sick Hongzhen, are you still shameless? My wrist hurts from his grip. The anger in my heart has also become stronger. Are you crazy? Liu Ruyan, didn't you live with Yanjie? Are you also shameless? Anyway, I won't let you go. He screamed out the words. There's something wrong with you. At this moment, I really think Liu Ruyan is extremely baffled. I want to take my hand out. But I can't open it no matter what. Liu Ruyan looked at me deeply. The emotions in his eyes are so complex that it's hard to describe. Fanatical and excited. Azhen. He kept saying my name. Like the fog suddenly lifted. Everything wakes up. The ignorant wandering traveler suddenly encounters the fountain of truth. A sudden enlightenment. He held me in his arms. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. We all got it wrong. Azhen. Suddenly Shen Yu's voice called me from downstairs. We made an appointment. He came to help me move today. I'm here and I'm making a sound in a hurry. Liu Ruyan's current state is too wrong. Gives people chills on the back for no reason. Hear Shen Yu's voice. Liu Ruyan's expression changed for no reason. I won't let you go with him. He pushed me into his room. Lock the door. Lock me in alone. He turned around and went downstairs. I heard ping pong noise downstairs. When I break the door and lock it out. Liu Ruyan was meditating with Shen Yu. It can be seen that Shen Yu wants to restrain himself. But Liu Ruyan seems to be crazy. Killing people as if they were life-threatening. The situation is a mess. I rushed down and separated them. Protect Shen Yu behind you. Staring at Liu Ruyan angrily. Have you had enough trouble? Liu Ruyan's expression was fluttering. Do you think I was the one who made the first move? It's him. I just asked him to break up with you. He slapped me. Shen Yu did not explain. Just breathing softly behind me. Azhen, I feel a little pain. I hurriedly went to check on his injuries. I found several bruises on the corners of his mouth and cheekbones. Let's go to the hospital. Liu Ruyan was furious. Damn green tea, what are you pretending to be? I've only been hit by you a few times. I turned a deaf ear to his words. Help Shen Yu go out. Liu Ruyan stopped me with red eyes. Hoarse voice. Azhen, I feel pain too. Don't you care about me? He pointed to his lower abdomen and ribs. Here. He worked hard. Finally stay at the heart. And it hurts here. It really hurts. We grew up together. Even if it's in your heart. Am I less important than this person I just met a few days ago? Liu Ruyan, I looked at him calmly. Isn't your pain self-inflicted? Liu Ruyan took a deep breath. My body trembled slightly in disbelief. Didn't stop me anymore. Go to the hospital for examination. There's really no big problem. I'm relieved. Send Shen Yu home. Every decorative painting in his house looks familiar to me. Take a closer look. Aren't these all my works? I talked too much before. Can't fit it in the house. I will hang it in the window and sell it. Every painting sold smoothly. I feel quite lucky. This person took down all the co-authorships. The one hanging in the center of his living room is my favorite. I didn't want to sell my work at that time. Just hanging in the window. The exhibition targets rooms. Auction price 999,999.99 yuan. Was photographed. I'm still wondering who is the big culprit. No great connoisseur is so discerning. It turned out to be him. It seems that what he said he likes is really true. I'm a little ashamed. You said you are also a business upstart after all. If there is something valuable to hang in your home, people will laugh at you if they see this. If only I knew one of them cost nearly $1 million. Then you have to laugh it off. It's not that I'm self-deprecating. It's really because I know what level I am at. That's what I said. I just saw that Gaga is awesome in the eyes of an outsider. The kind of existence that is not considered a dish in the eyes of experts. Shen Yusha coughed lightly. In fact, I have always been interested in paintings and other things. Not the least bit interested. Priceless words. I can't figure out why it's so awesome. No matter how detailed the analysis is by others, I also looked at it in a cloudy and foggy way. No feeling. But I really like your work when I see it. Value of items. Doesn't it only exist based on people's likes? I think it's worth it. For a moment I didn't know whether I should be happy or sad. Still happy. How can this not be considered meeting a close friend in high mountains and flowing water? Okay, you are tired today too. Go to bed early. I'm leaving first. I went to Shinayu's place and held my hand gently. Ma-sa hesitated to speak. That Liu Ruyan's mood is so wrong. I'm not worried about you living alone outside. Do you want to stay with me during this time? He quickly added. Just sharing. Not sleeping in the same room. I won't do anything to you. I felt funny. We are adults. Even if you do something, it's normal. Shen Yushi's breathing quickened for a moment. He leaned over. Unable to heal himself, he gently held my lips in his mouth. This is the first kiss between us. Some confusion. Out of order. It took him a long time before he let me go. Push my head into his neck. You say so. I will lose my bottom line easily. I tease him. But not during this time. I am a face control. I don't want to be with someone who's full of pride. The picture is too strange. Shen Yushu immediately became nervous. I will take good care of myself. It won't be disfigured. If I had known, I would have stopped him abruptly. If only I had known earlier. Shen Yushu was dejected. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have taken it personally. I thought the injury was in an obvious place. Okay, feel sorry for yourself. Hey, he's quite scheming. I shook my head and asked with a smile. But you bear this scar on your face. How can I go to work in the company? Shen Yushu is sticky and leaning on me. Those don't matter. As long as you feel sorry for me, that's fine. Zi looked at a cold and ascetic person. Playing to show weakness and pity. He actually has such a skill. A little too seductive. Even though he lived in Shen Yushu's house. I can't completely avoid Liu Ruyan. Ends at 8 a.m. He stopped me at the classroom door. Zhen, I have broken up. None of my business. When will you divide? Are you sick? Zhen and Liu Ruyan looked at me with a bitter smile. You like that woman now? Just because of the novelty. That's not real love. The person you really love is me. Liu Ruyan, if you really break your brain, just tell me not to say such inappropriate words again. I calmly suggested that she turned a deaf ear. Is true. The reason why it is difficult for us to detect our feelings for each other. It's because we are too familiar. So familiar that you will unconsciously ignore it. How valuable is the other person's existence? Like air. Invisible and intangible. But out of the air. People can't live. You may not feel it yet. But you'll wake up like me later. You want to fall in love with him. Okay, I won't stop you. I'll talk once. You talk once. That's fair. Anyway, we will be each other in the end. This destination. Zhen, I'm waiting for you. I want to bear it but I can't bear it. Take a long breath. I tried my best to stay calm. Liu Ruyan, you can only do it when you can't breathe. Only then can you feel the importance of air. But not everyone is as slow as you. His pupils suddenly tightened. Quivering lips. You mean you didn't just treat me as a friend before. You like me. Really I didn't hide. Look directly at him. Yes. Maybe I should use a stronger word than like, true love. Childhood sweethearts. Childhood sweetheart. Every stage so far. We all walked with each other. Like a pair of twin flames. We were born to be with each other. Go on this journey full of unknowns in the world. As long as the other party is there. No matter how thick the fog is in the distance. Not something to be afraid of. For me. This is the most painting-like feeling of love. Maybe not thrilling enough. Maybe not vigorous enough. But steady, and at ease. Tears filled Liu Ruyan's eyes. Lie to me, you lied to me. If you really loved me. Why haven't you ever felt jealous because of Yanjie? Why don't you make a fuss with me? Why did you agree to break off the engagement? Why did I sigh? Do I really not? I am really indifferent to Liu Ruyan. Or are you blind and deaf and never noticed his expression changed for a while? I think he finally remembered it at this moment. He told me about the day he fell in love with Yanjie. I cry and laugh. Laughing like crying facial expression. Recalling the time before officially breaking off the engagement. I was seriously ill for a whole month. Gloomy. It's hard to cut off a smile. Recalling that after he confirmed his relationship with Yanjie. I'm gay and he's as sincere as ever. I just want to avoid seeing him and remember his parents. Hinted several times. Even told him directly. Don't break my heart. I consider myself a calm and self-possessed person. For me. To say all these things is a sign of extreme gaffes. Liu Ruyan and I grew up together. It's not that you don't understand my character. As long as he cares a little. He will find out how wrong my mood is. But he didn't find even a single clue from beginning to end. Childhood sweetheart for over 20 years. He can't see my sadness. My heart gradually calmed down like this. What is his destination today? I don't know if Shen Yushu will be my destination. But Liu Ruyan will never give up. Sorry Zhen. I'm sorry, Liu Ruyan burst into tears. Give me another chance. Please just take it for the sake of our friendship over so many years. Give me another chance. It's because we have many years of friendship. So I can't go back. Liu Ruyan's perfect jade pen. The less room there is for a trace of impurities. I try to use the most relaxed tone possible. Although love is gone. But I still cherish you very much. Cherish this fate that we can know each other. So don't do some inappropriate behavior again. Said some inappropriate words. I don't want to be the last. Cut you completely out of my life. What do you say? He didn't respond. I just left in despair. But I think he got it. Zhen Wingwan sequel, Shen and I are together again. It really just started with the thought of dying. I never thought there would be a result. After all, the first 20 years or so of my life, I encountered 2 major accidents. Parents died unexpectedly. Bamboo Horse falls in love with someone else. This made me understand early on. Everything in the world is uncontrollable. So enjoy the moment seriously. Get better, I have feelings for him. Then have a taste of love. Didn't expect this taste. It tastes a bit addictive. Feeling of love. And to this person Shen Yushu. So on the 2nd anniversary of love. When he mentioned marrying me. I agreed. Then there is the wedding. Father Liu and Mother Liu will. Half of the Liu family's assets are in my name. Give me as an asset. I was scared half to death. Don't dare to take it at all. You kid. If it's given to you, take it. Since we have adopted you as our son. Everything at home naturally comes from half of you. I secretly told Liu Ruyan. I'll transfer it back to you. Liu Ruyan's eyes remained unchanged. Why transfer it to me? You are my brother. It should be divided into half. Besides, he paused. Still said it. Originally it was half. It's yours. I know what he's saying. I'd say that's different. But I didn't say it in the end. Since 2 years ago, after I had a heart-to-heart talk with him, Liu Ruyan never did anything out of bounds again. He is being my sister seriously. He even took the initiative to turn hostility into friendship with Shen Yushu. The relationship is good. So don't say it anymore. Shen Yushu chose Chinese style for her wedding. I think Chinese wedding is romantic. It is unparalleled by any style. A broad agreement between life and death. Talk to Zikan. Holding hands. Grow old together. On the eve of wedding. Liu Ruyan asked me seriously. How about running away from marriage together now? I'm not nervous at all. I said you won't. He's getting smaller, yeah. Because the person you really love now is him. You will hate me. Later he watched me marry Shen Yushu. Just when I caught sight of him. It seems like his eyes are red. I'm not sure. I heard Liu Ruyan say that I had seen my younger brother since I was a child. You have to cherish him well. Shen Yushu said to him, don't worry, auntie. I know Liu Ruyan. The moment I saw Zheng's official announcement photo in the extra story. Liu Ruyan felt trembling in her heart. Obviously, I have been hoping that Zheng will fall in love soon. He thinks it's because he's too casual in dating. Without careful examination. This is very bad. He is going to persuade him. Then he found out he was moving in with his girlfriend. At that moment, suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. A lot of very concrete pictures. Zheng was kissing and hugging another woman. Fingers intertwined. Entangled with each other. My mind felt like it exploded instantly. He scolded him shamelessly. He felt that he was stunned by his handsomeness. How can anyone live together on the first day they are together? There was a voice in his heart telling him. No, that's not the case. You just can't stand it? He is intimate with other women. Even just imagine. I feel suffocated. My heart is even more affected by such a picture. Stimulating pain to the point of twitching. But why? Why is this so hard to accept? He and Zhen are 2 independent individuals. He has no reason to care about his personal affairs. Because you like him. This is possessiveness. You want to monopolize. The voice in his heart said. At that moment, it was like the clouds cleared and the sun appeared. Everything is crystal clear. He has no time to think. Why do you like this? It was only at this late hour that he understood. He only knows. Now that I understand. He will hold it. It's his. It's his alone. No one can take him away. He got into a fight with that woman. The other party is also determined without giving in. Both of them seem to have lost their minds. Become a beast in nature. Winner takes all. The loser becomes a bandit. But he is confident. He will be the saint. Because of the outcome of this fight. It's not defined by who wins. But with Zhen's intention. His relationship with Zhen, his childhood sweetheart, lasted for more than 20 years, compared to someone who only knew Zhen for a few days. There is no reason to lose. But he lost. Zhen protected that woman behind him. Glare at him. Zhen only cares about whether that woman is in pain or not. But don't care about him at all. He hurts too. Especially that heart. He licked his face to ask for help. But Zhen only left a cold word. Didn't you ask for this? He smiled bitterly. Yes. He asked for it all. He didn't go to the hospital to see his injuries. I immediately went to see Yanjie to break up with her. Now that I know my true heart. There's no reason for him to keep hanging out with anyone else. He knew that for Yanjie. His behavior is tantamount to a scumbag. But he no longer cares about his feelings. Zheng is the most important. Fu Yanjie is calmer than he thought. Maybe it was because he saw that he had a clear intention. I asked him and asked for a large breakup fee. He gave it immediately. Then I called him immediately. He wants to use the fastest speed. Go to see Zheng innocently. All night. Enough for him to clear his mind. If time is a piece of cloth, the best and most precious 20 years between him and Zheng. It has long been firmly sewn together. Silk wire winding. Tightly intertwined. Can't be separated. Like one body. And it is precisely because they are like one body. This makes it easier for them to detect each other's throbbing. He is like this. Zheng must be like this too. He wondered why he was attracted to Fu Yanjie. During his growth. Except Zheng. Little contact with other boys. Fu Yanjie is the completely opposite character to Zheng. Carefree. Unfettered. If Zheng is a quiet lily. A woman's beauty is like a sunflower. This feeling makes him feel fresh. This freshness makes him feel special. This kind of specialness made him think it was a heartbeat. He firmly believed that Zheng was in love with that Shen Yushu. It must be the same reason. He wants to tell him this discovery. Make it clear to him. He hopes that after he understands. Break up with that woman quickly. If he can't figure it out for a moment. I don't want to separate him and I don't force him either. He knows the feeling of being suppressed. It will make people more desperate. Thought it was the only one in this life. Just like his parents had. I don't agree that he is the same as when he was with Fu Yanjie. The more I disagree, the more we have to fight. Think oneself. Very nice to him and willing to wait for him. Wait until he has tasted the freshness. Come back to him. But Zheng smiled and gave him a blow in the head. He was caught off guard and discovered. I've been terribly wrong a long time ago. Zheng said he couldn't go back. He doesn't think so. Life is long. Who dares to say what will happen tomorrow? That Shen Yushu may not be that good either. Shen Yushu is also a human being. Humans make mistakes. Maybe Shen Yushu will make a big mistake one day. Broke Zheng's heart, even if he doesn't make a mistake. But maybe one day Zheng will get tired of it. So he just needs to curl up in his sister's shell first. Don't make Zheng disgusted. Just wait patiently for the turnaround to come. But 2 years have passed. Shen Yushu is watertight. Zheng ignored him. They actually succeeded in cultivation. Watch the moment when Zheng got married. He really had that moment. Want to risk everything. Just take him and run away. He even said it. At that moment he was fantasizing. If Yanjie says something good. Even if it's a joke. He will also take him away decisively. It's a pity that it's just a fantasy after all. The memory of that day. He deleted all the scenes. Only Zheng is left walking towards the wedding stage. And he wore a red robe. Fenagwengziapi. Lying quietly in Zheng's arms. Midnight dream back. Why don't you count him as marrying him completed?